Welcome back to the Pit Stop Ranch. It was such a challenge to select what footage we're going to have in our Grand National Roadster Show video. I kind of focused on the main building or two, and we rapidly hit an hour's worth of footage. So I wanted to come back and give the due to the other sections. Right here, this is the Suede Palace. This is one of the first buildings that you approach as you come in the main gate. And this here is for all of the cars that are not necessarily finished in a traditional way. A lot of patina cars and a lot of cars whose level of finish is more appropriate with, well, to be quite frank, my aesthetic. What most of the drivers I operate end up looking like, simply because I'm too cheap to pay someone else for a paint job, and shiny is scary because you're afraid of it getting scratched. Instead, you get to frighten everyone off with the fear of tetanus. I digress, though, and we get an opportunity to really check out some really amazing cars that didn't sort of fit within this catch. We also cover some of the other stuff as well in this part 2, and I hope you really enjoy this video. Now, not all the cars in the Suede Palace were patina jewels. There were quite a few highly finished, beautiful customs that would have looked totally in place elsewhere. Without a doubt, there was a certain element of overflow with this particular building. Here we see a GMC that is kind of inspirational for our Jimmy project. Imagine it fire engine red and not the additional corner windows, but and some vent windows in the because this is an earlier GMC. Regardless, still inspiring to see such a beautiful late 40s, early 50s pickup. Once again, there's so many 32s, and but here's another gorgeous example. I do like the contrast of the off-white eggshell firewall to the blue paint, and I do really like that shade of blue. It's a very pretty shade of blue. Been chopped a little bit. Actually, it's pretty good. And here, of course, is an iconic chop-top Lincoln Zephyr. I didn't catch whether or not it has the actual Zephyr V12 in it. That would be frickin' awesome if it did. Regardless, gorgeous car. Beautiful paint, as you can see. Getting black that shiny and deep is a rather challenging, as I understand. This car, well, not that car there, but this 34 coupe in the foreground, chopped, belongs to Mr. Jim's Hot Rod on Instagram. He pretty much goes to all the same events. I see him quite frequently. Very kind gentleman. Very nicely shares his passion and his time with anyone who wants to shoot the shit with him. But he's got this gorgeous car, fun car, and he drives it. He actually lives not too far from me, and I do see it around. Now, we have reached the point where mini trucks have become nostalgic. When I was a teenager, and I kind of mentioned this previously, slower mini trucks with hydraulics and pneumatics and so forth were a big deal. And it's kind of cool to see these trucks getting resurrected and brought back. Anyway, this room here is dedicated to vans and trucks. And as you can see, for many rows, there are some gorgeous examples of trucks. Now, many of you are probably undoubtedly aware the increasing popularity of hot rodding pickup trucks, which is something that is a relatively recent phenomenon in the last 20 years, and has very much everything to do with the fact that there's only so many, Chevelles, Camaros, Mustangs, so forth, and in a pickup truck, or the engine swaps you want to put into your hot rod frequently come out of pickup trucks. You get the big 4-bolt V8 and the heavy-duty transmission, at least automatics, and you soup them up, drop them in your hot rod, and you're good to rock and roll. Well, if you can't afford the hot rod chassis, just hot rod the pickup truck. And that's something that we have been seeing a lot of over the last 10, 20 years. Now here is another GMC, much like our beloved Jimmy. In fact, this is a closer example because it's got the vent windows in the doors, except this has of course got a LS swap in it. And as we know, LS swaps, if you want power, you do it. If you want style and looks, you don't. That's my opinion on them. It is, to me, the GM engines, the classic small block Chevy, big block Chevy, and LS are extremely logical choices for your engine swap. They're relatively inexpensive to acquire, relatively expensive to get stupendous amounts of power out of. Big block Chevy not being a little bit more expensive than either the small block or the LS motor. However, at these shows, I genuinely appreciate more seeing engines other than the staples. Granted, my inclination is to go with those staples, but seeing, an FE Ford or a Hemi, a first generation Hemi, or a Pontiac or a Buick, or almost any other engine besides your staple small block Chevy. Now, that said, it doesn't mean a 4 2-barrel or triple 2-barrel setup on a small block Chevy with a small distributor, yada yada yada. Those are very attractive combinations as well. But doing something a little more unique. I mean, again, if you want to do big power, you do an LS. If you want to do big power and be a little different and don't mind spending the money, do a Coyote or a third gen Hemi. Or if you really want to spend a heck of a lot of money to produce same power and be quite a bit different from everyone else at the events I typically go to, do a 2JZ. Do you, boo. But that's my 2 cents on motive power. And as anyone who spends any time watching our videos knows, I tend to be more interested in what's under the hood than what's in the cab. But that's just my own particular manifestation of this car obsession that we all share together. And of course, an actual big block Buick in a Buick, you know, got to show some love. Now, this year with the special spotlight on trucks and vans, as we've already shown, there was a lot of very sexy boats. And I really like this one because I got a thing for the wood. Plastic boats, again, infinitely practical if you're going to do a boat, as practical as boats can possibly be. But that wood finish on that first one, I have to say, that bright work, very, very striking, very much enjoyed it. So in this building here, we had a few overflows from other areas, but it was a combination of boats and lowriders with a handful of mini trucks. So, and some more very interesting things like this Model A pickup towing this wood teardrop trailer. Very cool. Anyways, love to hear your opinions on the boats and including them in the Grand National Roadster Show. I thought it was kind of neat, different way of thing of doing it. And of course, Brookville was there showing off their steel bodies and chassis. So, you know, if you're doing any restoration work and you don't want to beat the panel out yourself, either because you don't have the appropriate tools, skills, or time, of course, Brookville has been the go-to source for all of your 32 Ford Roadster and Coupe needs for quite a while. Don't mean to sound like a commercial for these guys. I am just bloody damn jealous of this beautiful sheet metal that I would love to have. They do, they also do Model A Coupes and Roadsters. Now, like in the other video, this was filmed outside. So this was outside the main building where the actual main competition was. But once again, a big part of the show is to give shops the opportunity to show off their work and workmanship, the sort of projects they like to highlight, and the intent to drive business. And in the background there, you can see Speedmaster, who are foreign cast go fast parts. But here is a nice little speed shop showing off some of the classic cars that they have, they're working on, they're restoring, and they're doing. And with the general idea of drawing attention to their skill and craftsmanship, and hopefully to drive some business. So some of these are either replicas or actual show cars from the 60s and that they're restoring and are generally very notable. I mean, heck, I think I had Hot Wheels of all these cars when I was growing up. So it was kind of neat seeing these things up close and personal and the various stages of restoration. And hats off to this company for their hard work. If you back it up a little bit, you can pause and see who they are, and if you want to get a hold of them, I'm sure they have a presence on the web.
I like the industrial.
You know what? All I can say is a bit of foreshadowing. We recently acquired some midget race car parts at the last Long Beach swap meet, and so now there is a interest in traditional old school race cars. I think this particular one isn't technically a midget. I think this is supposed to actually be one that was like an Indy car that was saved. It is based on a Model T frame, and therefore the owner has it registered as a 27 Model T, which was a common way in the very early days of racing. Racers would build their cars. And of course, it is on a really cool COE Ford. I'm not sure what chassis the cab and bodywork is on, but it probably a dually F350 that they went in and swapped the engine over on, given the Ford bias of the person. Speaking of Fords, here is a gorgeous shoebox. Was it 48, 49 shoebox convertible? For sale. You saw the for sale sign there. If you're interested, check them out. Here's a beautiful Nomad. And again, at the show, there's a large number of cars that are displayed outside by people who come in and show them. And this little area is no exception. Now, this was on Friday afternoon, and it was a little sparser than anyone who went on Saturday or Sunday. Sunday. It is actually very swamped, both with an overwhelming number of gorgeous cars, along with an overwhelming number of spectators enjoying said beautiful cars. So we actually this year made a conscious effort to go on Friday so as to avoid the crowd. And along the lines, of course, you have everything from customs to wonderfully, lovingly restored examples of original cars. And off in this back corner over here, the LA Roadster Club, who put on the LA Roadster Show in June at the Pomona Fairgrounds, much like this event, but in a different part of the massive fairgrounds, have come out and shown their support and love, and a decent number of them came out with their cars and participated in the event, and it is always cool seeing these guys, and much respect to this club for both their age, and I don't mean just age of owners, the owner's age, but also the fact that they have been a huge part of this scene and community for a very long time. They have been leaders and organizers and a group that probably doesn't get nearly enough due. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a gold sloppy kiss and say thank you very much for your hard work, folks, men and ladies of the LA Roadsters. And we're coming to the end here. I got some more footage, but I think you guys get the idea. Here is a 1941 Willys Coupe gasser with a blown 392 Chrysler Firepower Hemi. Father-son team did the restoration, the work on it. They did a gorgeous job. They're busy showing it all off. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if you haven't done so, please go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate it very much. And we will close out on this original nitromethane, I guess you could say, prototype fuel dragster starting up.